how should, is this a good shot here?
Yeah.
All right.
So are this in the picture?
Let
Wait,
me,
move a little bit away.
no, you're good. It's not showing the desk, so you're
No,
okay.
it's just showing like from here up with no desk.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All good? All right. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your research?
Sure. I'm a professor in optical oceanography at the College of Marine Science, University of South Florida.
Alright.
My name is Professor Chuan-Min Hu. I actually had a physics background.
Oh, okay.
I had a PhD in physics. Then I moved to this marine science school to use optics to study the ocean.
All right. Why did you choose to study red tide with a physics background?
Oh, well, optics is a very powerful means to study what's in the water and how much. Because everything in water reflects the sunlight. And by telling how much different color shades the water reflects, you can tell what is in water and what is, how much is in water. With optics, the beauty is you can put a camera on satellite, and then you have a very large view. So one snapshot can give you a picture of the entire Gulf of Mexico. Think about it, if you drive a boat to sample this, it will take you several years to sample the Gulf. But here it's just a snap of a finger, it's a couple of seconds. So that's a powerful means to study the ocean.
That's amazing. Is that what you're currently working on with regards to red tide?
That's a part of the project I have been working on.
All right.
I work on other things as well, but
Alright.
that's just one topic.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about what causes red tide?
Well, that's actually, sounds simple, but it's a really difficult, very difficult question. Red tides have been there in the Gulf for millions of years.
All right.
Okay, it's not a new phenomenon, and I don't know where you are from. For the local residents, they know. When they grow up, they see this. Now they see this. So what caused this? Well, it's nature. Just like what caused precipitation. Well, it has been there for many years. So the sea. So red tide is just a phenomenon. It's a toxic algae. All of a sudden they have very high concentration. You have a lot in water. Just like you have a lot of algae in your swimming pool, it's greenish, it's algae. But this algae is special. Okay? It's toxic. It has a toxin. When it's released toxin, if animals, zooplankton fish, eat those, they die.
All right.
Okay? So it's toxic. So what caused this? There's favorable conditions. So like plants on land, what causes a plant to grow? You need light, you need fertilizer, you need water, all those conditions. So when all those conditions are met, so there's a seeds, algae. So those algae seeds are always in the water, but they're low in concentration. You have a few seeds, but once the conditions are met, they grow very fast. You have a lot. So what are those conditions? You need light, you need the nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, and you need the right nutrient species. And you also need the physical condition to make sure they stay there, they don't get go away, then you don't have concentration. So all those conditions need to be met to have a bloom or a red tide.
All right.
Okay.
How does red tide affect the wildlife and the ecology of the sea life and the beaches when there's one of these big blooms?
Well, first, a lot of things die in water. You have seen the video, you have seen the pictures, fish, turtle, or manatee, or even dolphin. So they die. And they die, they sink in the water on the bottom. And so the bacteria eat them, consuming oxygen. Then you have a very low oxygen in the bottom water. That's called hypoxia. So I assume you all know fish need oxygen, right? So if the water has not enough oxygen, they die. So this is another reason for fish mortality. So that will impact the water ecology a lot because you no longer have fish. Okay, but once Washington Beach, you have a lot of dead fish. Right? You have to clean this, and this dead fish smell bad. And when you clean it, if you use a truck, you may stick out the sand. That will damage the beach also. And also this toxin, they release toxin. This toxin are in the water, but once you have a wind, they can get in the air. They form aerosols. Okay, they just spray out in the air, and the wind may carry this to the beach goers, to residents. If you inhale this, you got sick. So that's the impact on human health.
Right.
Okay, so there are a lot of negative impacts.
Does red tide, is it affecting any endangered species on the beaches?
That I can't answer. I am not a biologist, especially I'm not a fish biologist, so I can't answer that question.
Alright.
Yeah.
Is it dangerous for humans to be in areas where there's red tide? You talked about inhaling the aerosols as dangerous. Is it dangerous to swim in? Is it?
Absolutely. Depending on your body state, you may get sick. And I also heard from the news. I'm not a biologist again. I don't research on human health. But according to news, the local hospitals in Sarasota received at least 20% more patients due to this red tide. For health or breathing problems. What do you call that? I just can't recall the word. My son has this symptom.
Asthma?
Asthma. Yes. Especially if you have asthma, you inhale this toxic, it will make you very sick.
Alright. And that's certainly unfortunate. Have you observed that red tides have become more frequent or more severe either in this recent season or these past few years?
I can't say yes or no. The reason is we do not have enough data. There is currently a debate within the science community. So on one side, people say yes, you see increased red tides in recent years. On the other side, we say you can't say this. You can't say increase, decrease, or nothing because you do not have enough data. The reason is that side concluded there's an increasing trend based on the measurement of water. You collect the water, you see, what's in that? You collect water, you see what's that. They have been doing this for 60 years, 6 decades. Okay? But if you think how our technology has evolved in the past 60 years, nowadays we have more communication, we have more ships, we have better technology to measure this, and we have more fishermen, so they report more. That doesn't mean naturally there is more things, because you simply go out more often, you measure things more, that doesn't mean you have more things. So that's one reason. So we are trying to tease out this information, whether we have more frequent red tides, for example, in the past 5 years than 20 years or 30 years ago. And nowadays there's a debate on this, so there's no definitive answer on this.
Alright, that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you think can or should be done to manage the effects of red tide on the beaches and the people that live upon them?
So a major mitigation or red tide response effort is to have early warning. So tell people, okay, there will be a red tide, or at least there's an ongoing red tide, so don't go to the beach. If you have something in water, for example, aquaculture, people grow oyster or clam in water, just take them out to avoid they consuming the toxins. On how to, maybe you are asking, can we cure red tide? Once the red tide, can we remove that or kill? No. This is simply because of the scale. It's huge. For example, this year's red tide, that is maximum. You know how large that red tide is?
I don't,
Okay. You know how large Tampa Bay is?
roughly?
That's 100 kilometers square. Oh, I'm sorry, 1,000 kilometers square. The Tampa Bay, the site. 1,000 kilometers square, that's 300 square miles, more or less. So this red tide is about 7 times of Tampa Bay size.
Wow.
The entire Tampa Bay. That's huge. How do you kill such a huge bloom?
Yeah, it certainly.
It's like can you kill a hurricane? So the hurricane is coming. Can you kill it? No, just put something there so it doesn't come here. There's no.
Do you think human activity has influenced red tides at all?
It's possible. This is a no-brainer question actually. No, red tide needs light nutrients to grow, right? If human use more fertilizer, and they will be washed to the beach, to the water, right? So the red tide, the algae may make use of this runoff, the nutrients from runoff. But whether or not that is the case, we need a scientific evidence. Simply because it, on the surface makes sense, doesn't mean it is true,
Alright.
right? So to tease out the causes of red tide, so what caused what, we need to design a scientific experiment to prove or disapprove. It's not, oh, they occur at the same time, or this occurs first, that occurs second, so this is the cause of that one. It's not that simple. I'm pretty sure in science you will learn, especially your biology science the students, right? You need to have a